You are not bad with money. You go to work. You pay your bills. You've thought about saving more times than you can count. You're watching a finance video right now. That already puts you ahead. So why does every month end the same way? Too tight, too stressed, too far from where you thought you'd be? Here's what nobody tells you. The problem isn't your income. It isn't the economy. It isn't even your spending habits. It's the voice inside your head, the one that talks to you about money every single day. That voice is lying to you, not sometimes, every single day. And here's what makes it dangerous. These lies don't feel like lies. They feel like common sense. They feel like logic. They feel like the most reasonable thing in the world. You know that feeling when payday hits on a Friday morning? For a few hours you feel it, that quiet confidence. This month is different. I've got this. Then Wednesday arrives, and you're staring at your account wondering where it all went. Again, that voice on Friday, the one that said this month is different? That was a lie. So smooth and so familiar, your brain didn't even flinch. Financial psychologists have studied this for decades. What they found will change how you see every financial decision you make from this moment forward. These lies aren't random. They aren't personal failures. They have names, they have patterns. They were built inside you long before your first paycheck. Today, Floxy is going to name every single one. Where they come from, why your brain believes them without question, and exactly what to replace them with. And once you see these lies clearly, you will never be able to unhear them. Let's get into it. Before we get into the lies, I need to tell you something first. This is not your fault. I'm not saying that to make you feel better. I'm saying it because the science proves it. Here's what researchers discovered about the human brain. When you hear the same statement over and over, even if it's completely false, your brain eventually stops questioning it. Doesn't matter if it came from your parents, your culture, your school, or just the voice in your own head since childhood. The more you hear something repeated, the more your brain treats it as truth. Not because you're gullible, not because you're weak, because your brain is conserving energy by treating familiar information as safe information. Scientists call this the illusory truth effect. Think about it like this. You've been singing a song your whole life and someone tells you, "Hey, those aren't the real lyrics." You laugh. You can't believe you had it wrong. But the next time that song comes on, your mouth still goes to the wrong words, automatically. Because knowing the truth doesn't immediately change the feeling of truth. That's exactly what's happening with your money beliefs. A financial psychologist named Brad Klontz spent years studying why intelligent, hardworking people keep making the same financial mistakes, despite knowing better. What he found was both surprising and genuinely relieving. Most money lies aren't random. They're deeply rooted patterns formed in childhood, from the things you saw, heard, and felt about money before you ever had your own. And he called them money scripts. And here's the part that should take the weight off your shoulders. You didn't choose these scripts. Nobody sat you down and asked, would you like to believe money is always going to be tight? That you can never really get ahead? That you deserve a little treat every time life gets hard? These beliefs were handed to you through watching your parents stress over bills, through hearing money described as something evil or something only certain people have, through growing up in a world that taught you to spend first and figure out the rest later. You inherited this software. And here's the good news. Software can be updated. But first, you need to see exactly what you're running. Here's where it gets interesting. Because these lies aren't random, and they aren't unique to you. And when Brad Klontz's team finished studying thousands of people across different incomes, different backgrounds, different countries, what they found was remarkable. Almost every money lie people tell themselves falls into one of just 4 patterns. 4, that's it. And which pattern you're carrying right now depends almost entirely on what you saw, heard, and felt about money before you were old enough to earn any. Some people grew up watching money cause nothing but stress and arguments, so their brain learned to avoid it entirely. Don't look at the account. Don't open the bill. Just hope it sorts itself out. That's pattern 1. Some people grew up believing money was the answer to every problem in life, so they spend their whole adult life chasing it, never feeling like they have enough, no matter how much comes in. That's pattern 2. So some people tied their entire identity to how wealthy they appeared, the clothes, the car, the lifestyle. Because somewhere along the way, they learned that money meant status, and status meant worth. That's pattern 3. And some people became so anxious about money that they save obsessively and still can't sleep at night because no amount ever feels truly safe. That's pattern 4. Most people are carrying at least one of these right now. Some are carrying 2. And the lies that come with each pattern, they feel completely logical. They feel responsible. They feel like common sense. Lies like, I'll start budgeting next paycheck. Sounds reasonable, right? I deserve this treat. It's been a rough week. Sounds fair, right? I'm actually pretty good with money. This is just a rough patch. Sounds honest, right? Every single one of those sentences is a lie. A beautifully packaged, brain-approved, completely convincing lie. And we're about to go through all of them, one by one, so you can finally hear them for what they actually are. All right, let's go through them. As we do, and notice which ones make you feel a little uncomfortable. Because that feeling, that's recognition, and recognition is where change begins. First lie. I'll start budgeting next paycheck. You know this one. Payday hits, and for 2 hours, everything feels possible. The number looks real, it looks large. This is the month. This is when things finally change. Then rent, groceries, that overdue phone bill, a few coffees, one DoorDash order because you were exhausted. And by the time you think about budgeting, there's almost nothing left to budget with. Here's why this lie feels completely true. Your brain is wired to value what's in front of you right now far more than what's coming in the future. When that paycheck lands, your future self, the one who needs savings and an emergency fund, feels like a stranger, someone distant, someone you'll deal with later. Later never comes. What this is actually costing you isn't just money, it's time. Every month you push the start date forward is another month of compounding interest you're not earning. Research shows the average person says next paycheck over 40 times before actually starting. That's more than 3 years of wealth building, lost not to bad luck, but to one sentence. The reframe is simple. Don't start next paycheck. Start with one action today. To automate one transfer, even $20, before this paycheck disappears. Future, you need something to build on. Give them something. Second lie. It's on sale, so I'm actually saving money. You're on your lunch break, scrolling your phone, and it appears 40% off. Your brain does the math instantly. It was $80. Now it's $48. You saved $32? You feel clever. You feel efficient. You'd be foolish not to buy this right now. Here's the truth your brain conveniently skipped. You're calculating savings against the original price, not against zero. But zero is what you had before you saw that sale. The sale didn't save you $32. It cost you $48 you weren't planning to spend 20 minutes ago. A study tracking household spending across the US, UK, Canada, and Australia found that sale-triggered purchases cost the average household between $1,200 and $2,000 every single year. That's not saving money. That's spending money with extra steps and a smile on your face. The reframe is one question. Before every sale purchase, ought to ask yourself, would I have come looking for this today if there was no discount? If the answer is no, the sale found you. You didn't find the sale. And that's the difference between a deal and a trap. Third lie. I deserve this treat, meaning it's been a rough week. It's 11 at night. You just finished a 10-hour shift. Your manager said something unfair. Your inbox is still full. You're scrolling in bed and your thumb stops. And the voice arrives immediately. You've worked so hard. You've been so stressed. This is just self-care. And you deserve this. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain genuinely cannot tell the difference between emotional pain and physical hunger. And shopping is one of the fastest emotional pain relievers available at 11 p.m. when every other option is closed. The problem isn't that you wanted comfort. The problem is your brain labeled a financial decision as self-care to protect you from the guilt of making it. Research on emotional spending shows the average working adult spends between $100 and $150 per month in exactly this emotional state, tired, stressed, and looking for relief. That's up to $1,800 a year your brain calls self-care, and your bank account calls a leak. The reframe isn't never treat yourself. The reframe is wait 24 hours. I still want it tomorrow when you're rested? Then it's a genuine want. Forgot about it completely? Your brain was just looking for relief, and relief doesn't have to cost you anything. Fourth lie. My credit card is for emergencies only, and this definitely counts. Meet James. James lives in Atlanta, earns $52,000 a year, drives a used Honda, considers himself pretty responsible with money. James has one credit card. He calls it his emergency card. James has used it 14 times this year. An oil change, a birthday dinner he didn't want to miss, a pair of work shoes because his old ones were getting worn, and 6 other situations that each felt completely urgent in the moment. Here's why this lie is so convincing. The definition of emergency expands to fill whatever emotional pressure you're feeling right now. Wait, a car making a strange noise feels like an emergency. A best friend's birthday dinner feels like an emergency. Work shoes feel like an emergency. And individually, each one has a reasonable argument. Together, James ended up with $2,300 on a card charging 25% interest. And he genuinely cannot remember deciding to do that. The real cost isn't the purchases, it's the interest. At 25% APR, carrying $2,000 costs you around $500 a year for purchases you can barely remember making. The reframe is a definition. An emergency is something unexpected that threatens your health, your safety, or your ability to work. A dinner is not an emergency. Worn shoes are a planned expense. An oil change belongs in a maintenance budget. And define your emergency before the emotion does it for you. Fifth lie. Subscriptions are cheap. I'll cancel later. Open your bank statement right now. Go back 3 months. Search for anything under $15 charging you every single month. How many did you find? Here's what Sarah found when she did this. Sarah is a teacher in Toronto. A workout app she used twice in January. A meal kit service she paused but never canceled. A music streaming platform she switched away from 8 months ago. A cloud storage upgrade she clicked during a phone migration. A premium app she doesn't even remember downloading. Together, $47 a month, $564 a year. Gone, quietly, automatically, while she was busy living her life. This is what researchers call the subscription economy trap. To each charge feels like pocket change. But your bank account doesn't process them individually. It processes them collectively. 6 $10 subscriptions isn't 6 small expenses. It's $60 a month you never consciously decided to spend. The average household across the US, UK, Canada, and Australia is paying for 4 to 6 subscriptions they rarely or never use. Between $500 and $1,000 a year. Silently draining from accounts that could be building wealth. The reframe isn't a budget overhaul, it's one audit. Open your bank app today. Search the word recurring. Cancel everything you haven't used in 60 days. Set a phone reminder to do this every 90 days. This isn't discipline. It's just stopping a leak you didn't know was open. Sixth lie. I can't afford it. This one is going to feel uncomfortable because it sounds responsible. It sounds honest. It sounds like exactly what a financially aware person says. But here's what financial coach Ramit Sethi discovered after working with thousands of clients. In almost every case, I can't afford it was not a statement of fact. It was a statement of priority disguised as a statement of impossibility. Think about it this way. If someone told you your child needed a $5,000 medical procedure tomorrow, you would find the money. You'd call family. You'd negotiate a payment plan. You'd sell something. You'd find a way. Because the priority is clear and the motivation is real. But that same person will say they can't afford a $500 emergency fund, a $50 investment contribution, like a $30 financial planning book. Not because the money doesn't exist, but because in the current mental hierarchy, those things haven't been assigned enough priority to make the money appear. The language you use about money shapes the choices you make about money. Every time you say, I can't afford it, you place yourself as a victim of your circumstances. Every time you say, it's not a priority for me right now, you place yourself back in control. One of those people builds wealth. The other waits for circumstances to change. and circumstances very rarely change on their own. Now add it all up. The delayed starts, the sale traps, the emotional spending, the expanding emergencies, the subscription ghosts, the priority disguised as impossibility, and the average working adult is losing between $2,000 and $4,000 every single year, not to financial disasters, but to these 6 quiet, convincing, daily lies. And we're not done yet. 7th lie. When I earn more, everything will be fine. This is the lie that hurts the most, because it sounds so logical. It sounds like a plan. Marcus is a marketing manager in Manchester. 4 years ago, he earned £32,000 and told himself, when I get to 40,000, everything will settle down. He got to 40,000. He upgraded his flat. His car payment went up slightly. His social life expanded because he finally felt comfortable saying yes. Within 18 months, 40,000 felt exactly as tight as 32,000 used to feel. Today, Marcus earns £51,000. And he's still waiting for the moment everything finally feels fine. What Marcus is experiencing has a name. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. Your brain has a remarkable ability to take any new level of income and within a short period, turn it into the new normal. The raise arrives. The excitement lasts a few weeks. Then the new salary becomes the baseline. And the old feeling of not enough follows it right up to the new number. Research shows that without a deliberate plan, the average person absorbs 100% of a pay rise into lifestyle inflation within 18 months. The raise happened. The wealth did not. Because wealth isn't what you earn. Wealth is what you keep after your lifestyle is done with it. The reframe is one decision made before the raise arrives, not after. I decide right now that the next time your income increases, at least 50% of that increase goes directly to savings or investments before your lifestyle ever sees it. Your lifestyle cannot inflate around money it never meets. 8th lie, I'm not a money person. The last lie, and in many ways the most damaging one of all. Because this lie doesn't just cost you money, it costs you agency. It costs you the belief that any of this is even possible for you. I'm not a money person sounds like self-awareness. It sounds like humility. But what it's actually doing is giving you permanent permission to disengage from the one skill that affects every other area of your life. Nobody is born a money person. Warren Buffett wasn't born knowing how to invest. He learned. Your parents weren't born knowing how to handle debt or build savings. They learned or they didn't. And either way, you inherited the result. Financial literacy is not a personality trait. It's a skill. And like every skill that has ever existed, it can be learned, practiced, and improved by anyone willing to start. The moment you say, I'm not a money person, you stop asking questions. You stop seeking information. You hand the responsibility for your financial future to partners, employers, governments, and hope someone else is making good decisions on your behalf. The reframe isn't complicated. Replace I'm not a money person with I'm someone who is learning how money actually works. That one sentence keeps the door open. And an open door is all you need to start walking through. Here's the layer most finance content never touches. We've named the lies. We've seen what they cost. But there's still one question sitting underneath all of this that nobody ever fully answers. Why? Why does the brain keep choosing these lies even when part of you already knows better? Even when you've heard the advice before? Even when you've tried to change and somehow ended up right back in the same place? Here's the answer. When your brain is under financial stress, the kind of low-level, constant stress that comes from living paycheck to paycheck, from avoiding your bank account, from carrying debt you don't talk about, something very specific happens. Your cognitive bandwidth shrinks. Think of it like your home Wi-Fi. When everything's running smoothly, it handles everything. Streaming, browsing, video calls, all at once. But when too many devices are connected and the signal is struggling, everything slows down. Pages take longer to load. Videos buffer. Simple tasks suddenly feel frustrating. Financial worry does exactly the same thing to your brain. When a significant portion of your mental energy is consumed by financial anxiety, by the quiet background hum of not enough, by the stress of bills you're not sure how to cover, by the guilt of purchases you regret, your brain has genuinely fewer resources available for complex, long-term thinking, for planning, for delayed gratification, for asking the deeper questions that wealth building actually requires. This is not a character flaw. This is biology. And here's where it connects directly to every single lie we just went through. The lies aren't random habits, and they're your brain's fastest available exit from the discomfort of financial stress. I'll start next paycheck isn't laziness. It's an overwhelmed brain buying itself one more month of relief. I deserve this treat isn't weakness. It's a cognitively drained brain reaching for the fastest comfort available. I can't afford it isn't honesty. It's a stressed brain avoiding a painful confrontation with its own priorities. Every lie is a coping mechanism, built by a brain doing its best under pressure. And here's the part that's going to stay with you. Research shows that the scarcity mindset, the persistent feeling of not having enough, actually reduces measured cognitive capacity by the equivalent of losing 13 IQ points. Temporarily, 13 points. That's the same cognitive impact as missing a full night of sleep. You're trying to make clear, long-term financial decisions with a brain running on significantly less than its full capacity. Not because you're not smart enough, because financial stress is genuinely, measurably, biologically expensive. Now here's what I need you to understand before we go any further. Knowing all of this, knowing the lies, knowing the psychology, knowing where it all comes from, is powerful. But knowledge alone is not the cure. And this is the part most people get wrong. Right now, you're probably feeling something. A kind of clarity, a sense of, okay, I see it now. I know the lies. I understand why my brain does this. I'm aware. And awareness feels good. It feels like progress. It feels like the hard part is behind you. I need to tell you something important. Awareness is not a cure. I remember the wrong song lyrics. You know the real words now. But tonight when that song comes on, your mouth is still going to go to the wrong ones. Automatically, without thinking. Because the pattern isn't stored in your conscious mind where the awareness lives. It's stored deep in the automatic part of your brain. The part that runs your behavior before your thoughts even catch up. The same thing is going to happen with these money lies. Next Friday when that paycheck lands, the voice is still going to show up. This month is different. Next time you see that sale, you're basically saving money. Next time work crushes your soul and you're lying in bed at 11 p.m., you deserve this. And here's the frightening part. It's still going to feel 100% true. Knowing the lie exists does not make it stop feeling like the truth. The only thing that silences a lie you've been telling yourself for years is replacing it, deliberately, repeatedly, with something real. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Here's what you replace them with. Not affirmations. Not positive thinking. Just more accurate versions of the truth. Because that's all a reframe really is. Your brain finally getting the correct information after years of running on the wrong version. For the spending lies, stop saying, I can't afford it. Start saying, it's not a priority for me right now. Stop saying, I deserve this treat. Start asking, what do I actually need in this moment that costs me nothing? These aren't restrictions. And they're honest conversations with yourself that your bank account has been waiting for you to have. For the avoidance lies, stop saying, I'll start next paycheck. Start asking, what's one thing I can automate before this paycheck disappears? Remove the decision entirely. When saving happens automatically before your eyes ever see the money, the lie has no entry point. It cannot convince you to spend what you never saw arrive. For the identity lies, stop saying I'm not a money person. Start saying I'm someone who is actively learning how money works. Stop saying everyone else seems fine. Start saying I'm comparing my everyday reality to someone else's highlight reel. And that's not a fair comparison to anyone. These aren't feel-good phrases, they're corrections. Upgrades to software that has been running on outdated information for far too long. And here's what I need you to understand about these reframes. They will not feel natural immediately. The old voice is still going to show up. But every time you catch the lie and choose the correction instead, your brain registers a new pattern. And patterns repeated consistently become the new automatic. That's not motivation. That's neuroscience. You are not starting over. You are starting with everything you now know, and that is a completely different place. Remember that voice from the beginning? The one that showed up on Friday morning and said, "This month is different." The one that felt so confident, so reasonable, so completely true. That voice hasn't disappeared, it's still there. It will show up again next Friday, and the Friday after that. But here's what's different now. You can hear it for what it actually is. Not wisdom, not logic, not common sense. Just old software running an old pattern in a brain that was doing its best with the programming it was given, before you had any say in the matter. The version of you that sat down to watch this video, the one who felt stuck, who felt like they were trying but not quite getting there, who wondered why the month always ended the same way. That version wasn't failing. That version was running a program they never chose and never even knew was running. And that version just got an upgrade. You now know what the lies sound like. You know why they feel true. You know where they came from. You know what they're costing you every single month, and you know exactly what to replace them with. Most people go their entire lives never understanding why their relationship with money feels the way it does. You just did that in one sitting. The lies are still going to show up. But now, for the first time, you're going to hear them before you believe them. And that one shift, catching the lie before it costs you, is how everything starts to change. Not next paycheck. Now. If you made it here, that took honesty. And honesty about money is rarer than most people think. You stayed, you looked, and that already makes you different from where you were an hour ago. Now I have one question. Answer it in the comments right now. Which lie hit you the hardest? And what are you replacing it with? Write it down. Not just because it helps the channel, but because writing it down makes it real. And making it real is the first step to making it different. Because here's the truth. Knowing the lies is only the beginning. The next question, the one that actually determines whether any of this changes your life, is how do you build habits that make the right choices automatic? How do you design a financial life where the lies simply have no room to land? That's exactly where we're going next. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And one more thing before you go. If something in today's video shifted something in you, check the description. There's something down there that goes much deeper than any single video can cover. Built for people who are serious about completely transforming how they think about and handle money. Go take a look. I think you're ready for it. This is Floxy, and I'll see you in the next one.